Hello friends! Today I'm going to show you the very basic surgical skills. How to hold needle with a needle holder. Firstly, you must notice how I am holding the needle holder, and you must pay attention to its working surface, which used for holding a needle. If we divide the surface on 3 parts, the third part closer to the end, it is our exactly working surface, and that part we use for holding a needle. So we take a needle using tweezers and needle holder, and we also divide it visually on 3 parts. First, middle, second, and part which we use for holding a needle, a little bit lower than its eye. So exactly this place. How to tuck the thread. Firstly, you must take the thread and pull it by your both hands tightly, and then you must put it under the needle and lift one end by your hand and make a cross on the needle holder and seal it just right in the needle's eye. Also, visually you divide the thread on 3 parts. The short end will be 1 out of 3 parts, and the long end of the thread 2 parts out of 3. The second step is to make a cut on the surface. Here I'm using chicken's leg, but if you have a possibility, it's better to use something that simulates the skin. My scalpel was too unsharp and the chicken's leg was too soft, but anyway, you should pay attention to the angles, how I'm starting, how I'm cutting and ending to cut with a scalpel. As I said, it was too soft, so finally I used just scissors to make 2 cuts for training. Simple linear continuous suture. This is type of suture that's really widespread, and how it looks like you may see on the right part of the video. First of all, we doing first stitch. Its depth must be approximately half of centimeter, and you should keep that depth with each stitch. Also, you should pay attention to the distance of each puncture to the end of the wound. It should be half of centimeter. The short end of the thread we left, we use for make a knot. We tied it. The surgical knot consists of 3 knots, at least 3 knots. It may be 4 or 5, but not less than 3 times. In this example, it's not noticeable. It's not good, for example, to learn how to make a knot, but in this video there will be better examples how to make first and the last knots. Actually, to make a knot, we may use 2 hands, 1 hand and needle holder, and also the tweezers and needle holder. So, if I'm using hands in this video, it's not that noticeable how I'm doing this. So, when I will use 2 instruments, it will be better to watch and to learn. Also, you see that the same distance we should keep between every stitch. The distance must be the same, half of centimeter. If the stitch will be closer, it could cause the death of the teaser. Now, as you see, I'm doing the same knot, almost the same knot by two instruments as it was on the beginning. I'm doing the loop. The first time you should do two loops. Simple nodular interrupted suture. Actually, nodular it's the terminology for USSR former countries, but for other countries, English-speaking countries, we use in terminology like it's simple interrupted suture. It means that every stitch ends by making a knot. I'm using technique by two hands. Actually, it's the same as with a needle holder. But of course, how to make knots, I think I should do another video and dedicated just to the knots, how to do it by using your hands, also by using your instruments like a tweezer and needle holder. Technique how to tuck a thread into a needle is the same. We can use here short thread and technique actually is the same. We're keeping distance between stitch half of centimeter, its depth also half of centimeter, and its distance from the end of the wound also should be half of centimeter. And please pay attention that every knot must be not on the wound but from the side, from the left or right side. Wrapping linear continuous suture is our name in Ukraine, but in English-speaking countries it's called like lock-stitche suture. Actually, it looks like a little bit different, but the technique of this suture is almost the same as for linear simple continuous suture. I left at least 10 centimeters. I'm making 2 loops first time around needle holder. I take it by needle holder, the same thread. Also you can take the opposite thread. Then I'm making other knot and another knot with one loop and with changing direction. It's okay, it could be 4 times, but not less than 5 times, but not less than 3 times, with the changing of the direction of the how you make loop. So our thread is fixed. Also you see here the same distance, half of centimeter to the end, from the each puncture to the end of the wound. You see the technique is the same as in the first time, but now we put the thread around the puncture. It's the main difference. That when you're doing first puncture, second puncture, and now we put the thread that the puncture should be inside, and thread must make a loop around, surround this puncture, surround the needle, and then you pull, and it causes that it makes another type of suture, so-called lock-stitche suture. Here it's not perfect. You see the distance between every stitch is not the same. It's a little bit closer on the beginning, but then it began to increase. I was very upset because of this situation, but you know, I'm just learning. Also, I'm still not a professional, and you may see how it looks like when it's not perfect. When we already finished our suture, we should do a knot. You see, I'm doing 2 loops around the needle holder. I'm taking to the cross where is the thread cross itself, and I'm pulling by tweezers and making the knot. There is not essential, but there is a small loop appears. I'm pulling it, you know, to make sure that it's tight. Pull tightly. Now I'm doing the second loop. It's the 1 loop around the needle holder, the third in the other direction, and the 4th. So our surgical knot is already done. That's it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next videos.